Hey, it's Cosmic Charles, and I'm back with another Pauper video. So I've been wanting to play Poison Storm, pretty much ever since since when Focus of Mine came out. But thing is, Poison Storm's kind of like a combo control type deck, because of how slow it is in comparison to like actual like Storm combo, like into actual Storm decks. So I had to kind of wait to see what the meta was going to look like before moving forward. And I played it in a few leagues. The first two leagues I was trying to record live, and I was just making way too many misplays. I didn't go to. I had like a 2-3 and a 3-2. I threw at least two matches. So for my third league, I decided I'd just only record the video and then fill in the audio later because I just couldn't. I was too rusty to do it live. And I ended up going like 10-0. Well, 9-0 technically because our first player conceded after game one. They just really didn't like playing against combo decks. Even though they themselves run a combo deck, but I mean, I guess solitaire. Oh, whatever, doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, and through all three leagues I played, this felt incredibly strong. I was even considering playing the Pauper Pro Tour, not Pro Tour, what's it called? Like the Pauper qualifier, because I have like more than enough points for it, but it's just I looked online, that could take like 11 hours, like 12 hours. I just don't have the time for that. So I just really wish, like, it's online, right? So why not just have the Pro Tour qualifier take place over a few days, you know? Just have, like, okay, we'll play this much, like two matches or three matches here, and then we'll move on as it goes on. That way, more people could sign up, because I do not have 10 hours right now, or even 8 hours, really, to do a Pro Tour qualifier. I mean, I probably could, but I'd piss a whole bunch of people off. I don't really want to do that, so we're not gonna sign up. I was very close though. I was very close, but I decided not to. Anyway, yeah. So today I'm going to show you the league that I played. Only four of the five games, because the first game, like I said, the player conceded like after I'd cast like three spells, so it's not worth just just recording that. But I would like to get into the new card from Dragons of Tarkir, whatever that set's called, Focus the Mind. As soon as I saw this card spoiled, I knew that it had to be in this deck. So what is this card? It's a 5 mana instant that costs 2 less to cast if you've cast on the spell this turn, to let you draw 3 cards and then discard a card. So why is this good when we already have something like Compulsive Research? Well, Compulsive Research is a sorcery, which makes it worse, although I guess dispel proof. It also, if you don't discard a land, you need to discard 2 cards. So as Focus the Mind is only 1 card, so Focus the Mind can dig you for lands. And why else is this here? Well, is very, very good in this deck. You have Manamorphose, Snap, and Pentad Prism, all of which are like almost like free-ish spells that can cast the Focus of Mind. Of course, if you only have 3 mana, Pentad Prism, you'd have to burn a Pentad Prism to do it. But that's not really why we're running Focus of Mind. It's already great in this deck. It's a Storm deck, so it's always going to cast 3, right? Well, we run 2 cards that work particularly well with Focus the Mind, and I'll go for the first one here, and that's Merchant Scroll. So Merchant Scroll is 1 in a blue, search your library for a blue instant card, reveal that card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. So what this means is if you have a Merchant Scroll in your hand, you can just look at it as a 5 mana draw 3, because 2 and 1 blue plus 2 generic 1 blue plus 1 generic 1 blue equals 3 generic 2 blue. So it's just like another 5 mana draw 3. So that's great. Now Merchant Scroll is, I've always been wanting that to happen in this deck, to make Merchant Scroll into a card that just grabs a draw 3, but 6 mana draw 3 from something like a Rain Revelation, just, it wasn't good enough, but this is very good. Now, another card that I think actually works the best with Focus of Mind is Teach by Example. So unlike cards like Reverberate or whatever else they're called, Teach by Example is a copy card that you have to cast before the spell. It reads, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. And you may choose new targets, not that that really matters for this deck. So, because you can just cast this Teach by Example first, you can then cast Focus of Mind, draw a total of 6 cards, at instant speed. So you can do that on your opponent's end step. I've yet to get to do it on the opponent's end step, but I'm looking forward to the time that happens. Now, there's another big change. And also Focus Mind has been performing very well. So I'm just huge on Focus of Mind and Poison Storm right now. I think it's very powerful. And it's also felt strong. Now, another change that I've made is that I've completely cut the Ever-Flowing Chalice. And the reason why I'm doing that is Ever-Flowing Chalice is great if you see it in the first couple turns. Maybe even by turn 3, it's all right. It gets worse the more you go on. And if you draw it mid-combo, it can be very difficult to actually generate mana from that. So if you're running it as a 2-of, it just didn't feel right when the odds are you're not going to see it early, and then you're just going to draw it, and it's going to be, oh, that's a dead card. It doesn't really do very much, besides maybe provide storm count. Snap, on the other hand, as long as it's a creature in the battlefield, you can generate 2 mana with this. It's also a bit of a control card. So the way you kind of look at Poison Storm is that it's like a combo control deck. I know I don't run any like removal really or anything like that in the main besides Snap, but Weather the Storm is just, you look at it as like a catch-all, almost like a Supreme Verdict, except it's for like fogs or something like that. Just look at the Weather the Storm as a control card. That's how I look at it. So you have the 4 weather and the 2 snaps in the main for control, pretty much. Yeah, so what was I? Oh yeah, so if you look at Snap, you can kind of look at it in this deck almost like an exclude. So this is a target spell this is a removal spell that also generates mana. So it's a removal plus a ritual. And that's one of the reasons why, if we move on to the sideboard, why I'm running Unwind. For the same reason, almost like an exclude. It's a protection spell, and it can excel you. It's also there for Giga Drowse as well for the High Tide matchup, although it's not as good at like stopping them because it costs 3. You could just run 1 Unwind and have a Pyroblast here instead, but I'm not sure about that. Yeah, so otherwise, I guess I'll go into a brief deck tech here, or a longer deck tech here. So, what is this deck? This is Poison Storm. How do we win? We infect our opponent with either Prologue 2 Phyresis or Infectious Inquiry, and then proliferate them out of the game. So what cards do we run to proliferate them? We have 12 cheap proliferators with Experimental Augury, Contentious Plan, and Thirsting Roots. And 4 more expensive, so that's 16. Well, in addition to that, we also have 2 Teach by Example, which brings us up to a potential 16 to 18. And we also have Merchant Scroll, which means anytime there's an Experimental Augury in your deck, you have 20 proliferation, ways to get proliferation. Or ways to proliferate, I should say. So that's pretty good for the proliferation count. And one of the reasons why, the main reason why I'm running Merchant Scroll in this deck, even though it has a sweet like toolbox thing going on, is because of Prologue 2 Phyresis. It's a blue instant. Each opponent gets a poison counter, draw a card. So you don't really want too many of these, but you do want it, just because 4 Infectious Inquiry might not be enough to get the job done. Might be enough. You need to see, the earlier you infect your opponent, the better, pretty much. So by running Merchant Scroll, I can get away with running only 1 Prologue 2 Phyresis and giving myself, and yet still have 7 ways of initially infecting our opponent, with 2 Merchant Scroll, 1 Prologue, and 4 Infectious Inquiry. Of course, Merchant Scroll is only an initial infection counter as long as there's a Prologue 2 Phyresis left in the deck. So that's pretty good. So that gives us 7 ways of infecting our opponent in the early game, which is great. I guess I'll talk about Merchant Scroll. Another thing about Merchant Scroll, as I mentioned just now, is that it's a bit of a toolbox deck. It actually has a good amount of targets. So it can get Experimental Augury if you need a proliferation target. It can grab Focus of Mind, as I said earlier, if you want to draw 3. It can grab a Teach by Example if you want to copy a spell, and I'll get into Teach by Example soon as well. It can grab a Prologue as an initial effect source, and it can grab a Snap as a way to not ramp, because this would be a mana neutral play, but maybe you want to snap back an Avenging Hunter or a Chrysalis or something like that to stay alive. It can also get your Dispels, your Unwinds, and also your Outcolds post-board, but we'll get into that later. Yeah, and then the other card that's fairly important here is Teach by Example. So what is Teach by? As I said before, it copies the spell. So why is this good? Well, you have something like Vivisearch's Insight, which costs 5. So making a 2-mana Vivisurgent's Insight is very, very powerful. If you have 2 Pentai Prisms on the battlefield, that means you now have a free, like a mana neutral, draw 3. If you have 3 out, it actually generates mana. So you can just go absolutely crazy with Teach by Example, Vivisurgent's Insight. It also works really well in the early game with something like an Experimental Augury. You can combine it with Breath Weapon as well to do like more damage. Teach by Example has been very good. So everything's looking pretty great until you look at the mana base, and then you're like, oh wow, how are you a 4-color deck? Yeah. Well, here's how this works. We have 4 Manamorphose, 4 Pentad Prism, and 4 Thirsting Roots, all of which are great for color fixing. Manamorphose is also very good. Previously, I was just running this Timur, but it wasn't. You needed the Infectious Inquiry in there just to have more card draw. 4 Prologue wasn't enough. I was kind of thinking, oh, Prologue gets down faster, so it means you need to draw less cards on average. That's only true if you see the Prologue, right? So I mean, it wasn't really worth it. Yeah, so for the mana fixing, 4 Manamorphose, 4 Pentad Prism, 4 Thirsting Roots, and 2 Luring Revealed. Luring Revealed fixes for blue, specifically. So that gives you 14. Thirsting Roots can get any color in your deck, which is great, because you have 5 basics, 2 of which are islands. Pentad Prism, again, any color in your deck, and because now we're running a 2-2 split between Peapog, Sandstone Needle, and have a main deck Swamp, it makes it more likely you can actually get 2 different colors of mana. That was some of the issues with the more blue lists, is that you would more often you wouldn't be able to cast Pentad Prism for 2 colors of mana. I found, unless you're running Lotus Petal, in which case it's fine. You also run the 4 Manamorphoses before, so off of your green and red mana, makes Sandstone Needle better. Kind of like with Teach by Example, it means you can actually like use your red mana rather than being just like locked on blue. So this helps to fix really well. It also generates Storm Count. Snap, also really good for Storm Count too. So it kind of has like a lot of really good synergistic things going on. And as I said, and also because you're running all these non-blue spells, you actually have a little bit of natural play against something like a Pyroblast. So this deck is trying its hardest to be like have like these huge tempo plays in it with Snap and Unwind, and not to mention just by being a Storm deck. Post board, we have 2 Tangle as this kind of like a catch-all. Now, I know there's a lot of like Vigilance and Untappy things where Tangle wouldn't be good, but the problem is, because you're like something of a tempo deck, the matchups where you want to see Tangle, holding up the flashback for Moment's Peace is usually crippling. The only matchup that I can think where like, oh, I can like last long enough to be able to hold up a Moment's Peace really is like something like a White Weenie or something like that, where Tangle is already kind of good. So I don't use Moment's Peace here. Now I know you can make the deck differently, where Moment's Peace would be better. Like if you like run Everflowing Chalice, more lands, just to make it so that you can actually hold up your mana. Yeah. So Out Cold is it's just a very powerful card. It's deals with 2 threats, usually permanently, and it can't be countered. So that's very powerful, and it also draws a card. It takes a little bit of work to set it up, but when you do set it up, it's very good. It's like a 3-for-1 always. Well, not 3-for-1. 1-2. No, 3-for-1 always, because you draw a card and you tap 2 creatures. Yeah, that's great. Dispel. I'm running 4 of them for High Tide. One more Snap for various things. Unwind can also be for High Tide as well. Now, one of the things I'm concerned about is I was doing pretty decently against Mono Blue Fairies with this deck in the past, but a large part of that was because I was running Prohibit. I've gotten rid of the Prohibits, and we're going to see, well, not today because it's pre-recorded, and I'll see how well only having 4 Breath Weapon can do against Mono Yu Fei. Because there could be a pretty good argument for getting Prohibit back in here instead of the Unwind, and this being like more cold to High Tide. Because I used to bring in, I believe it was like 4 Breath Weapon for Prohibit. So I don't know. I don't know how we're if I'll make those changes or not. But anyway, I think that pretty much covers the deck tech. So we shall go on. All right, here we are. This was match 2 because match 1 our opponent conceded after only a few spells. like the whole match, so there's no point in showing that one. All right, let's check her out. This will be at 2 times speed as well, just to make everything a little faster. I can't keep that. I can keep this because I can. I have 2 Pentad Prism in hand, so I can play both these. So I can use Pentad Prisms instead of lands, pretty much. So Mountain, and that ramps me too. It's a little slow, but it looks like we're up against some type of gate stack, and those can be pretty slow as well. Yeah, definitely. There's a Basilisk Gate, so I play Island and I go Pentad Prism. Probably not going to infect them on their on the next turn. I'm just going to play another Pentad Prism and maybe do something. It depends on what I draw / what our opponent does. They just play another Outlaw Medic. So I'm just going to play a Pentad Prism here. And you could go Contentious Plan, hope to spike a land, but I kind of want to hold it for a Weather the Storm because that's a free spell. They get in for 3. We go to 14, so I'm not feeling all that much pressure. They can pump something by 3 with the gate right now. They draw a card, they play a cat, and they play a cat. So they're going wide. I would have drawn the land, so it would have been nice to cast the Contentious Plan, but you know, it's fine. So they're not really dealing that much damage. I maybe should have Infectious Inquiry there. In fact, I probably should have. It would have gone down to 12. I guess I was a little concerned. No, the reason why I didn't was I was concerned about a Guardian's Pledge or something like a +2/+2 effect. So I was playing around that. That's why I didn't go for the Infectious Inquiry, even though that would have been better here. So I go down to 5. And like Weather the Storm could have like saved me from that had they had it, but I think it would have been a bad situation anyway, so maybe I should have just done it. So now I'm going to chain off as much as I can with all of my free spells. Drawing that Contentious Plan was great. Drawing that Experimental Augury is also great. And I'm leading on these ones because there are things like Thirsting Roots, Pentad Prism, like more mana that you don't want to select with the Experimental Augury, but you would like to draw but you would like to draw anyway. So here I take the Teach by example because that's just basically another Experimental Augury, and I go Teach by example and Experimental Augury. So I get to look at the top 6. I can take the Focus the Mind or the Snap here. I think probably the Focus the Mind is the right call. Proliferate. They're at 6. And I should take the Contentious Plan here. I could take the Thirsting Roots also makes sense because that means that my this having more mana is good. It doesn't draw a card, but I'm not too concerned. But maybe I should have been a little more concerned there. But this does mean I can cast the Focus the Mind without deading a Prism, which is why I did this. And it looks like they are in fact just dead because I drew the Snap off of that. Oh, I don't even need to use the Snap. So we take game 1 against Gates. I guess this was... if I was on the play, this was a turn 6. If I was on the draw, it was a turn 5. So I'm not quite sure what I'm up against. Some type of Gates deck. I was thinking about leaving the Snap in, but I changed my... but I realized it wasn't that great. So I'm bringing the Teach by example back in. I brought in 1 Dispel just to tutor out in case they have like Red Blast effects. Maybe I should have brought in more. Why I take Teach by example out? It's kind of like a Dispel in that situation where they have like a Red Blast. Because it just copies the spell. It's kind of same as countering a spell, countering one of your spells. They go Outlaw Medic. And here's actually, hilariously, very similar to the first game. I have Hickory Woodlot with 3 Thirsting Roots, which is why I kept this hand. I don't like mulliganing with this deck, and I have all the lands I need with these Thirsting Roots. Just a little slow, but this is a slow deck. So I'm going to go Thirsting Roots. I'm going to grab a Swamp, and I'm just going to infect them now. And I drew a Pentad Prism, so that was good. And they get in for 2. I'm going to play the Swamp, or I'm going to not the swamp. I'm going to play the Pentad Prism, then I'm going to play the Mountain. Then I'll likely go Augury here. Maybe hoping to draw another something good. So I could take Focus the Mind here. In fact, I should take Focus the Mind here, but instead I chose Thirsting Roots again, and I think that was a mistake. Didn't quite pay attention to what was happening next turn. Yeah. Well, well, actually, the mistake wasn't grabbing the Thirsting Roots, I think. The reason why I grabbed the Thirsting Roots because I already had, like, just a ton of card draw in hand. So I think, actually, I've changed my mind. I think the Thirsting Roots was right. What I did there was wrong. I should have grabbed the island and then proliferated off of this one. I was thinking, oh, and then I can play the island next turn and proliferate. But I'm like, wait. I kind of want the island, though. So this, I think, was wrong. I should have used the first one to grab an island and then used the second one just to proliferate. But that's not what especially because they're already infected. Again, I'm a little rusty with the deck. They go get him for 2, and that is all 4 of my Thirsting Roots now. These are all my basics, so there is an advantage of I have thinned my deck out considerably by taking 4 lands out of my deck. So that's pretty good. So there's an argument for doing it for that reason. Not a very good one, though. I'm going to play this island. That gives me another 4 mana. I can go down to so should I Merchant Scroll here or not? I think 11. So I'm a little worried because I don't have a Weather the Storm, but I decided to go Infectious Inquiry anyway, and that draws me into the weather. So that means I'm going to look to go off next turn. I have all the proliferation stuff I need. They do have 1 red open, that Citadel Gate, and so they also named red for Citadel Gate, so it leads me to believe that they probably have a Pyro in hand. So I can use this Experimental Augury to draw out their Pyroblast. And now, me getting that basic's looking pretty nice, although, I mean, I would have had an additional counter on Pentad Prism, so it doesn't really make a difference. So I draw 3, proliferate. I have 2 weathers. So here, I'm just going to go a sad weather for gain 6 so I don't die. And then go off with a bigger weather next turn. So I was lucky to actually have drawn that additional copy of Weather the Storm. Although, I may have been able to draw it next turn as well. So they go Outlaw Medics, now 5/7. They get him for 6. I draw the Dispel. So I don't have to tutor for it. So now I'm thinking, do I want the Teach by Example? So I can go Teach by Example, Meeting of Minds. Instead, I grab the Experimental Augury, and I just go Augury. And here I grab the Vivisearcher's Insight instead of the Weather. Because I just want more proliferation, more draw. And now I'm going to go Focus the Mind to draw 3 more cards. I'll discard this Hickory Woodlot, and now I'll go Weather with the Storm Cannon 4. So not the biggest weathers, but we are drawing through our deck. Our opponent pumps their creature again, and they get in for 7. We're down to 10. If they have 6 mana, they can double Basilisk Gate. So right now we either need to kill them, or we need to draw into our last weather, because one of our weathers is at the bottom of the deck right now. So I draw 3 cards, and I proliferate. There's the Unwind. I don't think we're going to need that. Oh, so I brought in an Unwind as well. And I'm going to go Metamorphose. Green, blue. Green, blue. Metamorphose, green, blue. Another Metamorphose. And another. So I think I drew all 4. I think all 4 of my Metamorphoses were on top of each other there. And I can play my other Pentad Prism. Done. And I didn't draw any more proliferation effects. So I decide not to go Infectious Inquiry, because that kills me to a tapped. Yeah, I think that kills me to a tapped land. So I just go Prologue, and it looks like Weather was the top card, which is pretty lucky. Any of my proliferation spells would have also been worked well as well, but I'd already used 4 of my Thirsting Roots, so maybe it wasn't that likely. All right, so that was match. That was really the first match of the league, but anyway, we are now 2-0 in this league. Stick around for match 3, which I guess I'll just bring up now. Okay, open file. Yeah, so that's this one here. There we go. And let's just pause this. And we'll minimize this. And we'll make it a little faster. Faster. Oh, wait, is this still at... Oh, I guess I don't need... Oh, I can just keep it at 2 times. Great. So, let's do this. Yeah, this is a good hand. Has lots of lands. Not the fastest, but it is good against grindy decks. So we'll see what our opponent's on. We're on the play as well, which is nice. They play a Dross Fire Bridge. That could be many things. I'm going to play a Hickory Woodlot. Pick up my cat, because I want some attention. And, yeah. Probably going to go Infectious Inquiry next turn, perhaps. Oh, by the way, I should not have played my Sappers and Scary there on turn 1. I should have played the Hickory Woodlot, because that puts me into drawing a, what's it called? A Thirsting Roots off of the, like if I was going to tap out for it this turn. And then I could have just played the Sappers and Scary to have the blue open. I am looking to avoid playing this swamp, if I can help it. And I'm going to go Infectious Inquiry. Draw 2. I'll play the Hickory Woodlot now. I was lucky to draw that island. And the reason is now, if I draw blue Proliferation Source instead of a green Proliferation Source, had I not drawn that island, I would have had to just play the Scary Pass. Or cycle my Lorraine Revealed. So I'm glad that I did that. They play a rat, I get rid of a peat bog. So this looks like a removal pile deck, so that's good for us. Jund something. Jund pile. I'll just play a Sappers and Scary anyway, so I guess it didn't really matter because I didn't draw anything huge. I do have a massive amount of draw 3s, though, so hopefully those can get us there. Our opponent goes Writhing Chrysalis. And I'm just going to go Island into Vivisurgeon's Insight. Probably going to need to Weather next turn. So I go Proliferate on all my lands, which is great because I really need that. And I'll just pass the turn back, discarding one of these lands. Oh wait, no. I play the Prism so I don't have to discard, exposing it to removal. And also I lose the Storm count. I think it was better to just discard a land there, so I could get the Storm count off of the Weather Storm for it, and not expose it to Artifact Destruction. So that was not a tight play. But you could see why I was tempted into doing that. But I think I should have just discarded the Hickory Woodlot or the Swamp instead. And they're going to get in for at least 6. They Fanatical Offering, so they're going to try and pump their... Oh, another that. I'll discard the Woodlot. Oh, that's why. They run rats. That's why I didn't want to discard the hand size. Sorry, maybe that was right. So I'm going to play the Swamp here, because I like the mana. I'm going to go... Funny how I ended up playing the Swamp anyway, but that's the way it goes. I'm going to go Merchant. No, I'm thinking for a bit here about what I want to do. If I should just lead on Vivisurgeon's Insight, Manamorphose, Merchant Scroll, because I was thinking about doing a Teach by Example thing here, but not sure if that leaves me enough mana to cast what I draw. So I could go Teach by Example, Vivisurgeon's Insight, but I think it only have 3 mana floating after that. So instead I just grab a Proliferation spell, and I get the Teach by Example anyway. So that's pretty good. Done. And I'm going to go Manamorphose, and I guess I'll go blue, or I guess green blue, it doesn't matter. I'll go Teach by Example here. And now I can draw 6, proliferate twice with this Vivisurgeon's Insight. And probably just Weather after that, perhaps. I mean, I drew a Thirsting Roots as well, so that gives us another 3 life. And I drew an Experimental Augury, so that's really good. So our best draw right now would be a Snap, so we can continue going off. So I'm going to go Experimental Augury. There's the Snap. And that means they're just dead this turn. So I don't even need to cast the Weather. And I'll go blue-white, or blue-black. Snap back your Chrysalis. Untap my Hickory Woodlot, Sappers and Scary. Proliferate twice with the Thirsting Roots to bring you to 8. Oh, I guess they're not going to be dead this turn. I could have brought them to 9, but not 10. So I'll just go for a Weather. Weather the Storm. And I missed a Proliferation on my Pentide Prism there, but it doesn't really matter. It just means I had to tap my Sappers and Scary. and the opponent concedes. All right, so I'm going to bring in an unwind, and I'm going to take out my... So I'm doing this now. Don't really like that. I think what I ended up doing was I ended up bringing 2 unwinds and 1 dispel for the red blast effects. Oh, and an out cold for their creatures, because that's how they kill us. So I get rid of all my snaps, because I think out cold's a better answer. Get rid of all my teach by examples, because they're they're kind of like similar to counterspells anyway, for 2 unwinds. And I got rid of something else for a dispel, I believe, as well. They go Drossfire Bridge. I'm going to play a Hickory Woodlot. And they go Rats. So I'll get rid of this Merchant Scroll here, which I think was probably my only Merchant Scroll, because that's probably what I cut for the dispel. And I'll play a Sappers and Scary. Our opponent plays a Twisted Landscape, and they get in for 2. And they go Cleansing Wildfire. Yes, I would like to use it, and I play an island. I can now go Experimental Augury, or Sandstone Needle, Experimental Augury. I'll grab the Infectious Inquiry. I don't have the black mana yet, but I'm expecting to be able to draw into it. Oh, now I have the black mana. I have a Thirsting Roots, so I'll just grab the Swamp. So now I'm all set up to go Infectious Inquiry. I mean, this grabbing that Swamp telecasts that I have an Infectious Inquiry pretty hard, but you know, yeah, I think it was right to use a green mana there. They go Duress, yeah, and they take my Infectious Inquiry because they likely knew I had it. And I mean, there's probably time to Duress then anyway. So here I can go Experimental Augury anyway, tapping the red mana. I'll grab another Infectious Inquiry. That was actually great, especially because I think we had 2 in our first one, so got a little lucky there. I'll just go Infectious Inquiry again. I'm not going to cast the Thirsting Roots this time because I have things like Focus the Mind, Weather the Storm, Pentad Prism. There's a lot of reasons to hold this. They are pausing on the refurb. I'm going to discard this Peat Bog if they go another refurb. They go Eviscerator's Insight, and they draw 4. Now we've drawn the same amount of cards. They go Refurb is Familiar. I'll discard a Peat Bog. They go Duress, and I believe they take my Vivid Surgeon's Insight here. That's the nice thing about Out Cold and Weather the Storm in hand. They actually end up... they're both ways to keep my life total from going too low. So that made the card draw the pick. Though the card draw might have been the pick anyway. So we draw Focus the Mind. So I'm going to go Thirsting Roots. I should be Proliferate here. Oh, I just grab an island. That makes sense too. Go Thirsting Roots, grab an island, because, you know, I haven't made my land drop that turn. And here I can discard either the Unwind or the Dispel. I decided to discard the Unwind here, although I think I should have actually kept that. I was thinking, oh, I can leave Dispel up. Well, that's only the case if I choose not to Weather the Storm. And I realized that I'm not really all that guaranteed to be able to get a better storm count than 3. Yeah, I know it's not that high. But in the next few turns, because what if this lowering revealed whiffs? So I decided just to take the 12 life, or yeah, the 12 life, because that's a decent amount against this deck anyway. Plus I have the Out Cold, so I'm able to like kind of use them. They Cleansing Wildfire my Sandstone Needle, so I just grab a Forest. I don't need the red. And I draw Sappers and Scary, so that's good. So now I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I'm not doing that. That was a really... That's not a good play. You shouldn't do that. I need my lands. Because I have something... That's the only thing I could do, sure. But that's not the only thing I can do. I have my Out Cold. I know they've been holding a Writhing Chrysalis, just waiting for me to use that Out Cold on the rats. But, you know, that 4 life is 4 life, so I'm going to tap the rats down. And now they can play their Chrysalis. And I get a clue token from this as well. They draw, and they play an Ichor Wellspring, draw a card. Okay, so we need to draw Proliferation now, otherwise those rats will untap the turn after the next. So I'm going to go Manamorphose. I'm just going to add green-black again, because I think those are the colors I want. Just in case I draw something. I drew a Thirsting Root, so that was pretty good, so now I can Proliferate. Proliferating away. The rats now have 2 counters on it, so that buys me some more time, and I should just go Lorien Revealed. And I should not have cracked that treasure token there. I should have waited, because that exposes me to duress. They go Fanatical Offering. I'm going to draw 4 cards. And they go Nihil Spellbomb. Don't care. I don't care about Nihil Spellbomb. And they get in for 4. So now I'm going to go Contentious Plan, Proliferate again. Currently, Out Cold has bought me 8 life and drawn me a card. That's decent so far. There's another Experimental Augury, so I can go Experimental Augury, try and chain off a bit here. They keep pausing, so it makes me think that they actually have a Pyroblast with that Drossfire Bridge, but I do have the Dispel for that. Would have been much better as an Unwind, though, because I have more than enough mana. There's Experimental Augury. Grab another Vivisurgeon's Insight. And if they have the Red Blast, this is the spell they'll counter. Yeah, I would have had enough for an Unwind as well. Oh well. And let's see what they do. They go Pyroblast, I go Dispel. I draw 3 cards. Boop, 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 boop. And I'm going to go probably Infectious Inquiry, Weather the Storm, Dead the Prism. We'll see if I Dead the Prism or not. I have so many lands, and they're over 5 in fact, so you can Dead the Prism probably. You don't really need you don't really need it anymore. So I'm going to go Infectious Inquiry, and now I'm going to go Weather the Storm. For 9, which is a better storm count this time. And not Robin Taylor. I realized that's what his name was. I was saying Natrobin. And I'm like, what is this? Natrobin Taylor? But the name's not Robin Taylor. I don't know who Robin Taylor is. Maybe I should. But I have a sneaking suspicion that this person is in fact Robin Taylor. And they go Blood Fountain. And they get in for 4. Surprised they didn't concede, but that's fine. I'm going to play the Pentad Prism again. I'm going to go Contentious Plan, Proliferate. We have another... oh, I didn't proliferate the rats because I was feeling a little overly confident. Because I think, oh, I'm not going to need to. They don't have another Pyroblast or whatever. But, you should have for the first one at least. Green, blue. And I'll go... should just go Contentious Plan, then Thirsting Roots here. And green, and Thirsting Roots. Alright, that was match 3. We are now 3-0. Like I said, match 1, there was almost no gameplay, so I decided not to record that one. So let's go to the next one. This is match 4. Open file. This one, oh, nope, this one here. Okay. Alright, so this hand is keepable. I bought him a land. It has turn 3 Focus the Mind. If I want off of the Hickory Woodlot Sandstone Needle, go Thirsting Root, grab... actually be Lorien Revealed, grab Island, Thirsting Roots Proliferate from the looks of it right now. So against Burn, there's a Clockwork Percussionist, so I'm glad I have this Weather the Storm, but this hand is pretty slow. And we haven't dropped a game yet. Maybe, well, it's not. I can't play this deck live right now. I don't have, I was making too many misplays, I'm sorry. And they come in for 1. And let's see what they do. They're thinking a long, hard time. I should have played the Sandstone Needle first, by the way, because of Chain Lightning. And I'm just going to go Lorien Revealed, using the red. Oh, and I'd like to point out, I did not play the right land. I should have played Sandstone Needle first, because I would have 1 extra mana right now, because I could have tapped my Sandstone Needle to grab the island on their end step. But I couldn't tap the Hickory Woodlock, because I needed the green to proliferate. Those are the types of things you need to look out for while you're playing this deck. And like I said, I'm kind of like lacking, I'm rusty. There's Thirsting Roots, which I will proliferate so that I can use my lands. And now I can go Focus Mind, draw 3 cards, and discard this Peat Bog, probably. Peat Bog or Hickory Woodlock? It should be the Peat Bog. I was very tempted to discard the Hickory Woodlot, but you just need green mana. You have 2 Weather the Storms in hand. If you want to do back-to-back Weather, without sacrificing your Hickory Wood. There's a situation in which you would need to sacrifice your Hickory Woodlot in order to go back-to-back Weather. I'd rather play around that. You'll draw black mana eventually. You just have so much fixing. There's a 3rd Weather, so I'm pretty glad I kept it. Oh, and while I was playing this match, I realized that this player, I think they knew who I was and were fairly confident that I was on Ruby Storm, based on how they were playing there. So there you go, because they were leaving, I think, 1 red open. Yeah, and they discard a Lava Dart here, so that makes me think that, like, oh, this person's on Ruby. And he's just, because I could easily splash an island there, because I do have blue spells, but, I mean, I wouldn't. And then they go Chain Lightning. So here I think for a bit. So if I pay for the Chain Lightning, it means I can't cast the Prologue, which I kind of didn't realize. So here, and I am casting this Weather regardless, I just need to use my mana. But I don't have any removal in my deck right now, and this is just a guaranteed way of getting this Voldaire and Epicure off the map, and not even poisoned. It's probably going to deal more than 3 over the course of the game. So I figure I'll just gain 6 here. And I got lucky, and I drew the Sappers and Scary, so I didn't need to cast the Prologue right then. In fact, now I'll probably hold the Prologue for Storm Count. They go Clockwork Percussionist. I am going to need to go Merchant Scroll for a Proliferation spell next turn, because I don't currently have one in hand. There's a Snap, so that's nice. Not really good against those cards. They just bolt in response, I'd imagine, because it's like a kind of free for them. Merchant Scroll. Of course, that does make them use a bolt. I'll grab an Augury, and I'll use the Augury to proliferate and grab a Vivid Surgeon's Insight. The question is, do I use this blue mana to cast a Prologue, then cast another Weather? I mean, I don't need to cast a Weather here, so I probably shouldn't, but I think I'm going to. But I think I did regardless, because I have the other one, like, in hand. And again, like, while yes, I do have Snap, you're not guaranteed to be able to get a better Storm Count than what you already have. So I decided to cash in on that. Very low, but it's still a good amount of life against burn. I could have run... I would not have done that if I only had 1 Weather the Storm in hand, by the way. But because I have 3, I was feeling like I could afford to do so. It also gives you the advantage of not dying, just like for like what happened there. Because I think I probably would have been dead to another like bolt out of them. So now I can go Vivid Surgeon's Insight. And also doing that lets me tap out this turn and then have like a much larger Weather for my last Weather that I have now. And I do decide to go Infectious Inquiry because I'm able to hold up the Weather in case something crazy happens. But I doubt that's going to be the case. So they're going to take me down to 10 here. And they go Experimental Synthesizer. So here I'm going to go for as big a Weather as I can. They played that Samurai token right on time for me to snap it, which is great. And now I can go Experimental Augury, digging for something. Probably another Augury. I couldn't choose between the Insight and the Augury there. But I landed on the Augury, so I'm like, you know what, you're trying to make a huge Weather this turn. Grab the thing that lets you make a huge Weather this turn. You already have a Insight in hand. I'll lead on the Insight now, so that I can maybe draw into a Pentad Prism. I don't, but I do draw into another Weather the Storm. So that's nice. And I forgot to proliferate that Sandstone Needle. Well, that's okay. So proliferate, 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 proliferate. And now I'm going to go Experimental Augury into Weather. Grabbing the Contentious Plan, because I have enough lands and they're at a high enough, in fact, total that I don't really need to... I don't really need the prisms anymore. I only need to poison them 3 more times. And I'm at 28 life. And they just concede. So here, I was thinking about playing around their Red Blast, but then I just thought, you know what, I don't actually have the room for that. And I actually board incorrectly here, because I wasn't sure how many of those, like Thermal Alchemist effects I might have. So instead I decided to bring in all my breath weapons. And take out, I was thinking, oh, maybe 1 snap to play around it, but like, you know what, let's not do that. Let's bring in the Teach by Example, because you can Teach by Example your breath weapon in order to kill those dudes, if that's what you want to do. I don't like... Now, I haven't really played against the burn matchup in such where like those cards are good against me because I've been playing Ruby Storm. I mean, they're still good against me, so I wasn't quite sure what type of burn this was playing. In hindsight, after looking at it, it was obvious they were like the thermo build, so I should not have taken out my snaps. And they swing in for 2 with their Goblin Tomb Raider, so a good start for them. I'll play the Sandstone Needle, Hickory Woodlot, Pentad Prism, try to chain off with the Weather the Storm on turn 3. Because they just went Goblin Tomb Raider, Thermo Alchemist. And there we go. And they go Thermal Alchemist, 1 damage. Ren's Resolve, untap. And now the Sandstone Needle is kind of keeping that Chain Lightning back. I'm concerned about Pyroblast, though, because that stops me from doing anything, really. At least I'll get the Storm count off of it, but I won't be able to proliferate. So I really need them not to have... what's it called? A Pyroblast. Or to tap out here. I know they're not going to Chain Lightning. I could have cycled that, but please tap out. But I didn't want to make that play. That encouraged them even more not to tap out. I would argue. So I'm gonna go Pentad Prism. If they were thinking, that is, if it's the thinking player, because sometimes people don't think when they play Magic; they just play. And I'll go Pentad Prism. I'll play Swamp. Experimental Augury is going to grab me, hopefully, another proliferation spell. It does. Another Experimental Augury. I'm not grabbing that second copy of Breath Weapon to go double Breath Weapon. I need to have a big weather this turn. I'm going to grab the Merchant Scroll. I grabbed the Merchant Scroll because the Merchant Scroll lets me get... what's it called? Teach by Example. So that I can teach by example the Breath Weapon and wipe their board next turn. This does mean I have to dead a Pentad Prism, but I do. I can cycle the. I can convert the Swamp into a blue mana with the Lorien Revealed, and weather the Storm. Storm count of 6, so that's a better weather. I go up to 26. They're going to be able to deal a significant amount of damage to me this turn, though. Fortunately, Experimental Synthesizer does not work with the does not untap the Thermal Alchemist. So that's good for me. They draw a mountain though, so that's was almost like a free spell for them. And there's that with there. They go Chain Lightning, sure. So all of these spells are dealing 4 damage right now. Epicure also doesn't untap the Alchemist, so that's good. And they get in for 2, taking me down to 19. So here I can go. Well, I'll use a Swamp, I guess. Lorien Revealed, grab an island. Play the island. Go Teach by Example. And Breath Weapon. So I get to copy the Breath Weapon, which means this does wipe their board. I could have waited until their turn to do this, but they have a Thermal Alchemist on the battlefield. So I didn't really. I guess I could have saved 1 life by waiting till my end step, perhaps. Yeah, so I guess it was right to wait until the end step. But I was also concerned about a Pyroblast out of them, which also would have stopped me, and I felt like waiting until the end step was a better way of that happening. And then they go Chain Lightning. Because there was a chance that even if they had the Pyroblast, they wouldn't have cast it there. I'm going to go Contentious Plan. Proliferate. And that's an Experimental Augury. So we're going to try and chain off a bit here and hopefully hit into another weather. Grab another Experimental, because 11 life with a 2/2 on the battlefield isn't that great. Experimental Augury. And we also have to hope that they just don't have Pyroblast, because I just feel like I need to take this Weather the Storm. Any order? They're not even infected, so I need to buy myself some time. I will Weather the Storm with a Storm count of 3 as I did before. The reason why is I'm not guaranteed to be able to chain off of this Lorien Revealed. So I'm at 23 now. They go Cycle. And they attack for 2. I'm down to 21. I still have 2 more weather left in the deck. So I'm going to go Manamorphose. I'm going to go blue. And I'm going to go Manamorphose again. I'm going to go green, blue. There's another Pentad Prism. I'm not going to play that yet. I'm just going to go Lorien Revealed. And I draw Focus the Mind. So let's see if I... Oh, they're not infected, so I'm just going to go Infectious Inquiry and get the poison on the road. I'm going to hold this Hickory Woodlot, just in case, because I don't want to discard anything in my hand to focus the mind. You could have played it, like you're likely to draw something you want to discard off of it, though, and that just gives you more mana. So, yeah, it's possible that I should have played this Hickory Woodlot. And they get in for 2. I'm down to 15. They have a Kaseg Flame Breather, but again, they only have 1 card in hand, so I'm not feeling underneath that much pressure. I'm going to play a Pentad Prism. And I'm going to go focus... Oh, I should probably lead on Vivisurge's Insight. I'm going to go... Or... I should have let a Vivisurge's Insight there, just in case I drew into another Pentad Prism. There's a Vivisurge's Insight. I draw 3 cards, proliferating away. And I could go another Vivisurge's Insight here, but instead I go... No, I still go Vivisurge's Insight, that's right. So still proliferating. That's another Weather the Storm, so that's good for me. That's my 3rd Weather. And so now I can just go Focus the Mind, and I'll Dead a Prism again, because I just have tons of lands. I don't think I really need the mana, although, to be fair, I don't have that much blue mana, and I just kind of drew the scary, so maybe 1 Prism should be enough for the way this game's going. That was my 3rd Weather. I just wanted to get as much out of it as I possibly could against a live Kasig Flame Breather. And there's a Lava Dart. They should probably cast that now. Yep, they do. So that's the sweet thing about Lava Dart in these decks, is that it deals 4 damage. I actually kind of think it's better than Fire Blast for if you're averaging like 4 Kaseg Flame Breather, like 4 Thermal Alchemist, or like, you know, Gutter Sniper, whatever you do. You should also run Fire Blast as well. Just, yeah, and there's Contentious Plan. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Done. Up to 6. Now, what worries me about Burn are like their Raise and Artifact Destructions spells, like in their Pyroblast and stuff. Like, they can almost be like a control deck against you. So here I pass a turn back. I don't think they're going to be able to kill me. And I drew my 4th Weather as well. So my plan next turn... I'm going to have to discard some cards here. So my plan next turn is to just play a Saprosan Scary, because Double Breath Weapon wipes their board, and then they'll make them use both their Lava Darts, and that means I can respond with a Weather the Storm. Alright, so I'll just play the Saprosan Scary and this Manamorphose. So I'm just going to wipe their board and generate a gigantic Weather, and then proceed trying to kill them after that point. Because now I have enough mana to do everything. 14 cards left in library. Probably still have plenty of infect sources in there, so I'm not too worried. Their opponents might be thinking that I'm flooding here, because that's what this play looks like. They draw a card, and they should get in now, I'd imagine. So they attack, and now I'm going to go Double Breath Weapon. Okay, so there's 1 Breath Weapon. And 2 Breath Weapon. And this makes the move on their Lava Dart. Now, our opponent doesn't let the triggers resolve first, so they don't get to put the damage on. I don't think that really matters in this situation. They weren't going to be able to kill me from 24 anyway with 1 card in hand. And this should get the concession. You shouldn't have to infect them out from here, unless they think that I'm just completely flooded. But this is just such a huge blowout. Basically negating more than negating their Lava Darts and Kaseg Flamebreaker triggers. Of course, it's a flashback card, so they're not losing that much value. But Teach by Example into Vivisurgeon's Insight should just seal the game here. Drawing 6, proliferating twice with an effect. So I just need to draw 1 more piece of proliferation from this, and there it is. There's a Thirsting Root. So they are, in fact, dead. Looks like we're getting there. I can go Thirsting Roots. Proliferate there, and Prologue, and they're at 10. All right, on to match 5. Where is it? Oh, there it is. All right, so match 5 against Gabby Zinn. I am not from Brazil. I figured this person was looking to split. Usually, when someone asks a question, they want to split. When you're in like the when you're in like the final thing and you're like 4-0 or 3-1 or something like that. Splitting, by the way, only makes sense if you're both in the final position. In which case, you should combine both of your like prize pool winnings. So let's say you're going to go let's say you go 3 and 2, you get one treasure chest. I believe the 5-0 player gets like 11 chests. That's 12 chests. So you should actually be giving that person 5 chests, which is usually what you do. What if they're 4-1? 4-1 is a little more interesting because you get 5 chests, that's 16. So each person should get 8 chests. So for the 4-1 person, you should only give like 3 treasure chests. So the 5 is still standard because there's a play point difference. And like people want the trophy, but it should really only be 3 in order to make the treasure chests even to be a proper split. But of course, anyone can engage if they want. So it looks like we're getting some burn again. They get in for 1. Go experimental augury, and I have to grab this forest here. I just need more lands. And our opponent goes Voldaire and Epicure, and they get in for 1. So they miss for land drop, and that gives us hope. This hand's pretty slow. So I'm going to use this Teach by Example to kick this experimental augury so that I can go off here. I probably should have taken that Thirsting Roots. This is a guaranteed land. I just really wanted to hit better there. Yeah, so I should have taken the Thirsting Roots. I think that's better than the Manamorphose. It depends if I draw a land this turn or not. If I draw a land out the Manamorphose, then it's better than Thirsting Roots. They go Chain Lightning, and they get in for 2. So I'm glad I didn't take the Thirsting Roots because I drew a Lorien Revealed. I'm going to go black and blue. And because they haven't drawn another land source, I can safely afford to infect them. And then I cycle my Lorien Revealed for another land. So things are all coming up Millhouse here. And they go for 3. I'm at 7. I'm going to go Contentious Plan, Proliferate. Boom, 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 boom. And now another weather was fantastic. So now I can chain off here. So even though I don't have the Pentad Prism, Weather the Manamorphose still lets you go Weather the Storm pretty well. So I have 5 mana available. That's enough to go Contentious Plan, Thirsting Roots, Weather the Storm. Merchant Scroll I'm holding in hand because I don't know what I want with it yet. I'm guessing it's probably going to be Focus the Mind, just to draw more cards. There's Galv Blast, enter 21, and then they get in for 3. Yeah, it's going to be Focus the Mind here. I could get Teach by Example, but I'm just going to get Focused. No, I couldn't get Teach by Example. That'd be a next turn play. I'd rather just draw 3 right now. Draw 3, I'll discard this Peat Bog, and I'll play a Sapizin Scary. That's a lot of lands. But that's all right, because we have a good buffer, and our opponent apparently only runs 1 land in their deck, so they're very lucky to have drawn that in their opening hand. I'm joking. They're clearly getting land screwed, but anyway, I'm going to go Vivid Surge's Insight, draw 3. I drew a Snap. That's great. This is what I love about Snap. Like, if that was a, Chalice, I wouldn't be able to keep going off here. Not nearly as hard. It would help me for the next turn, but not for this turn. So I'm going to go Focus the Mind here to draw 3. Nice. I'm going to discard the Sapizin Scary, and now I can kind of like go around and see if maybe I can draw another Weather the Storm here. That'd be nice. Instead, I get another Experimental Augury. So I'll grab the Experimental Augury here over the... Yeah, I grabbed the Experimental Augury because I have a lot of spells in hand and not that much, and I don't have a Pentad Prism. So I need cheaper spells so I can hopefully get 4 poison off in a turn, which I currently have more than enough mana to do. So I'm going to go Experimental Augury, bring them up to 7. I'll just grab a Prism here because I don't need any more. We have enough to kill them. And that Prism means that I definitely have enough mana because I hadn't counted. 4, 6, 9. Yeah, we had enough mana. That only cost like 6 mana to kill them with the Infectious Inquiry and that. And I couldn't have cast double Infectious Inquiry anyway because that would have made the game a tie. And I go Contentious Plan and Contentious Plan. There we go. Thirsting Roots. I should Thirsting Roots first, because in case, I don't know, I'm at 4, so there's actually like nothing here, because Fire Blast just kills me anyway. But yeah. Anyway, that was game 1. So this time I board properly, or what I think is a better way of boarding against Burn. And that is, I cut both my Teach By examples, and 1 Infectious Inquiry, 1 Merchant Scroll, because Merchant Scroll is a little slow, and Infectious Inquiry is also, like, deals you 2 damage. I only bring in 3 Breath Weapon, and I bring in 1 Snap. So that way I'm more insulated. Again, we don't have Pyroblast protection, because we just can't afford to bring that in. There's no room. So if they have it, they have it, because we need the other things. We're just hoping to play through Pyroblast, you know, the natural way. So we keep this, very weak to Pyro, but we have the Experimental Auguries to dig for more lands. We have the Focus to Mine as an early draw, and they get in for 1. Again, they drew the only land in their deck, so that's pretty impressive. I mean, that's what it looks like from here, at least. I'm going to play the Mountain, and I'm going to play Pentad Prism. And I'm going to go Experimental Augury. And I would have loved to grab that Hickory Woodlot, but we cannot pass up a Weather when we don't have a Weather in hand already. So that's because we're far more likely to draw another land than we are to draw into another Weather. And they take us to 14. So I drew a Metamorphose, that's good. I'm going to lead on that. I'm going to go green-blue. And I draw another Hickory Woodlot. So my plan was to try and go for a little Weather here off that Metamorphose, but now it's changed, and I'm just going to go Focus the Mind and try and go off big next turn. I could use the Experimental Augury if they try to destroy my Pentad Prism. Yeah, I think it's better just to wait and try to go off bigger next turn. And I'll discard this Sandstone Needle here, because they're not going to be able to kill me. Oh, I guess they run at least 2 lands now. And there you go, double red. What do they do with that double red? They pause for a while, clearly thinking. Yes, I remember what they were thinking about. I won't spoil it, though. And I'm really hoping they resolve, like, a Thermal Alchemist. Yep, there it is. There's a Thermal Alchemist. So why were they pausing so long? There's something in hand that they could have cast instead. Those probably cost 1 mana. So I'm going to go Experimental Augury. I'm going to grab an Infectious Inquiry, because I need to poison my opponent. I drew us into a second Weather the Storm, so that's good news for me. I'm going to Proliferate. Then I'm going to go blue-red. And I'm going to go Snap Back your Thermal Alchemist. That feels very good. Drawing it up just like we drew it up. Go Metamorphose. I guess we'll go black-blue here. Or black-green. I guess with the double blue. So now I can go Thirsting Roots. I'm not going to cast this Breath Weapon yet, because I don't want them to draw 2 cards. Instead, I'm going to go Infectious Inquiry. Draw 2. Now I can play this Island. Thirsting Roots, Proliferate. And I guess I can go Infectious Inquiry into Weather now. Yeah, I can. So I'll go Infectious Inquiry. And Weather the Storm. Alright, so we're going to gain 21 life. And they play another Thermal Alchemist. That feels good. Just time walking them there. That's very important. So now I can just cast this Lorien Revealed. Draw 3. We drew another Snap. I'm not going to dead my... I'm not going to sacrifice a Saprosan Scare to cast it, though. I'm at 25. They have 5 cards in hand. There's another Kaseg Fangblue. They're going to try and, like, just burn me out with, like, 2 lightning bolts. Alright. So then they go this, and what do? Raise. So that's what they were thinking about, whether or not they wanted to raise me or play a Thermal Alchemist that turn. I think it was obviously play the Thermal Alchemist, so maybe they had 2 lands in hand somehow. So we drew another Snap, so that was great. I'm going to go Contentious Plan. They burn me down to 20, or 19. Proliferate. Done. And now I'm going to play one of these tap lands after this Metamorphose, so that my Snap generates 2 mana instead of 1. I almost forgot to do that, but I remembered in time. And it'll probably just be the Sandstone Needle here. It could be the black one, but I've already played 2 Infectious Inquiry, so it's not as important anymore. I'll untap both these lands. Now I can go Merchant Scroll. I can grab myself an Experimental Augury so I can proliferate. And Merchant Scroll being able to be a proliferation spell has been just pretty nice so this league. And proliferate. Done. They're at 5. And I guess I'll just cast a Weather now and gain some more life. I'm not going to dead the Prism. Alright. They have a Kaseg Flame Breather on the battlefield and a Thermal Alchemist in hand, which looks like they got tired of playing over and over again, and they get in for some damage. So here I'm just going to go Vivisurgent's Insight and then Breath Weapon them when they go on their combat next turn. I'm going to play this Peatbog, probably. What am I doing? Am I Breath Weaponing them now? That doesn't make sense. I should pass the turn. I guess I'm Breath Weaponing them now. No, that doesn't make any sense. Just play the Peatbog, Breath Weapon them on their turn. So, as you can see, I'm a little rusty because you do not want them to get 3 cards at the start of their turn. Off those Clockwork Percussionists. And they swing in for a bunch. And now I cast my Breath Weapon. Now they can draw 3 cards. And I go Contentious Plan, looking like they're just dead now, though. I don't think there's... Yeah, and there's a snap. Is that my 3rd snap? I think so. That's my last snap. Untap. Thirsting Roots again. Or I guess it should be Vivisurgent's Insight, then Thirsting Roots in case I draw another Pentad Prism. I don't, but they are dead because I have 2 Thirsting Roots will kill them, or a Thirsting Roots and a Prologue to Phyresis. And just like that, we got to go 9-0, which was nice. Alright, so that was the league. A lot of fun. Merchant Scroll seems a lot stronger now that we can also get just make it in, now that we can also just turn it into a draw 3. Again, most of that league we were using to get proliferation spells, but it's been pretty strong. So I'm looking forward to continue playing this deck. Maybe there's some more sideboard changes I can make to it. I'm a little concerned about mono blue fairies without Prohibit in the side. So maybe I can do some fandangling and switch it around. Like, it's possible that we don't want Tangle, but it's a pretty good catch-all against certain aggro decks, like the mono black one, mono white one. Like, I like having Tangle in there. All right. Yeah, I think my next videos, I'm actually not sure. I've been working on all my decks. I have developed, actually, I guess I can show you that now if anyone's interested. Is it this one? No, it's not this one. Is it this one? No, not that one. What about this one here? There it is. So I have made some changes to Ruby Storm as well. And I have, my next video is going to be on Ruby Storm. I have some footage for it. Unfortunately, I didn't record the first game of the league, but I recorded the other 4. So, we're not... what changes have I made to this deck? The biggest change is that I can now go streamless. And I was even considering cutting stream entirely, but I realized that was a bad choice. It's still a pretty good sideboard strategy. I won't go into too much detail for it now. I just want to say that to adjust for the new meta, going streamless has been pretty good. And in fact, I've actually changed Seize the Storm to my main win condition now. Hasn't really changed anything in terms of the configuration of the deck, but it has changed my philosophy in like sideboarding and playing, and that's working out pretty well. I actually managed to beat Mono U Terra twice in a row using that new strategy, and Burn as well using that new strategy too. Unfortunately, I only have one of the Burn matchups I managed to record. The other one's Black Red Burn. That one was Mono Red, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But that will be a video for another time, probably, I don't know, next week maybe. If I think I can probably find time to do that. Yeah. All right, so really fun deck. Focus of Mind has been very strong. It seems to be really good in Poison Storm. At least this configuration of Poison Storm. Loving Snap, it's just so flexible and it gives you mana. So yeah, pretty sweet. All right. See you around.